Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. We are in Exercise 9, Creating the Budget for DCAP, Dependent Care Assistance Program. So if you have dependent care needs, that could be caring for a loved one or that could be child care. Now, if this does not apply to you, this is something that you should skip. Now, for most people, they can use this. So we want to point out to you is that if you are in the 15% tax bracket, more than likely you are better off taking the pre-tax deduction rather than the tax deduction. Pre-tax comes right out of your check, right, and it lowers your taxable income, where the tax deduction comes from the IRS when you file taxes. So from this premise, we're going to base it on the daycare example because most people seem to use it for this purpose. And you should know that Section 3.3 in Chapter 3 is where this was covered in full detail. So the exercise that you should perform here is, even if you have daycare already, doesn't mean you can't stick with it, but we just put this in the perspective that it's also a brand new thing, or it doesn't hurt to look and see, like we've done with auto insurance, for example, to look at some other places to make sure that you're getting the cost that you want for what you're paying for. Daycare can be a very expensive item in the budget, and so again, money is money, but also quality and reliability for what you're used to is important as well. So again, these are decisions that you need to make, but it's important to make sure that you balance it out for your life and your money. So if you're going to be brand new on this, it's much simpler because you've never done it. If you're settled with where you're at, then you just need to run the exercises for your daycare to make sure you plan it out right in your budget. But nevertheless, if you choose to rerun the exercise or start it from scratch, we recommend that you find at least 3 estimates of daycare centers and understand what it's going to cost you. And what also that needs to be considered is also the registration fee. Sometimes they have it if you're a brand new customer. So a good thing to point out is if you're new to doing this, or if you have it already, that a lot of times the cost for daycare is dependent on the geographical location, just like a house, right? They say, well, your neighborhood is what determines the price, right? So if you live in a neighborhood where the cost of living is a little higher, purchase a home, more than likely in the general area, you're going to pay more for daycare. So something that you can consider is to get daycare outside of your city limits or that area, and the price may go down a little bit. Sometimes people have daycare right by their work, and it's not really where they live, and that's another option. Sometimes they find out it's better to have it close to home for convenience and again for cost, because either way you're going to have to travel there to go pick up your children. Like anything else, on the time and go ask around, and certainly there's more pieces to what we show in this grid as to why you want to pick a center, and that's up to you in terms of reputation and the services they provide, and it could be down to nap times or activities or some education or whatever it may be that's important to you. You need to figure that out as you do this. But in terms of this exercise here, we're just basing it on your overall decision based on those other factors. So you can see here that we have facility. Certainly we talked about the app fee, the daily rate, and again, the location. So once you figure out if you're going to stay or if you're brand new going to pick what you want, then you run the exercise like we've been doing, and that means you will come up with your average. And then our book, we said it was 300, for example. And then we ran the 12-month exercise and realized that we needed some upfront cash to establish the account. So it's on the website, and you can go perform that calculation. And then once you have completed that, then you will stick with your average. You will get your added cash if necessary, and you'll have that line item tracked, and that's just one more piece that's filled out in the budget. All right, so that's going to complete this exercise. And the next one we're going to get into is purchasing a vehicle. Okay, so again, we will see you in exercise 10, and we thank you for joining.